Alright, hey guys, I'm just going to do a quick video about the coordinate geometry of quadrilaterals since some of you guys are having some difficulties with that. So I'm going to do that super quick, and then we will show you how this assignment works as well. So first of all, coordinate geometry, as you may know, coordinate geometry requires the use of a coordinate plane. So with this assignment, you're going to be using a coordinate plane to classify quadrilaterals, alright? Quadrilaterals can be classified by determining their side lengths using coordinates. So knowing the coordinates of this shape, like for example, you know that n here, let me get my pen out, you know that n here is at coordinate negative 2 for your x, and then -1 for your y, and then you know that E is at -6 and 7. Okay, now your job when you're using coordinate geometry is to find the distance between these 2 points, alright? Figuring out the distance of this line. You're also responsible for finding out the distances of these different lines. Okay? The purpose of finding the distances is to figure out exactly what type of quadrilateral you have. Alright? So that is the purpose of what you're doing here. So let's do a quick example and then we'll get right into what this assignment or what your assignment pertains to, okay? So classify quadrilateral ABCD as specifically as possible, okay? So here you have A to B. Let's find A to B first. You're using this formula, okay? Remember, this is your distance formula here. Distance equals x2 minus x square root of x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 the quantity squared, okay? So let's do that real quick. Let's calculate it. So you have square root of, forgive my handwriting on this computer, it doesn't work too well, 2 minus 3 the quantity squared plus, and if you do y2 and y1 first, which is what I did, that's okay because you're using the commutative property, but usually you'd start with x. 3 plus, because remember, minus minus makes a plus, 1 the quantity squared. Right? So there you have it. You have -1 squared plus 4 squared. Okay? Which gives you 1 plus 16. Therefore, what is it? Square root of 17. Alright? You got your square root of 17 here. So, square root of 17 is this distance. Right? Now let's see what this distance is. Okay? Square root of between D and C, okay, C and D, you have x2 minus x1, 4 minus 0, the quantity squared, plus -2 plus 1, the quantity squared. What does that give you? That gives you 4 squared, which is 16, -1 squared, which is a positive 1. And that also gives you the square root of 17. So the conclusion is here that both these sides are congruent. And you might eventually find out that these sides might be congruent as well, okay? Let's do it real quick. I'm going to do it mentally real quick. 3 plus 1, the quantity squared, gives you 4. This is also the square root of 17, if you do it mentally, okay? By mental math, I've also determined that this one, 2 minus 2, this one's not the same. Alright? So 4 minus 3 gives you 16, or 1 squared. Oh yes, this is the same. Square root of 17. If you do it mentally. I showed those ones to you at first, but now I'm doing these ones mentally. So, you see that all these sides, if they're the same distance, they are congruent. Okay? Now, why is it important that that is congruent? Well, if you look at our chart for classification of quadrilaterals, which I'm about to show you, okay, which type of quadrilateral involves parallelogram with congruent sides? Well, that one would be your rhombus. Okay, Your rhombus is a parallelogram with congruent sides, okay? So you're using coordinate geometry to determine what type of quadrilateral it is, okay? So you're using the distance formula, okay? With this assignment, you're going to have some evidence of your work, so make sure that you write the distance formulas you use on a piece of paper. So let's get to the assignment real quick. Okay, and we're going to cover a bit more on this topic when I get back, but for now, we're just going to leave you with this. Okay, so let's go to your actual assignment. Give me just a minute and we'll get that going. Alright, so here you have your assignment that I gave you. Okay, so it says to calculate the distance between each set of coordinates for each quadrilateral. Okay, so that is what you're doing. You're calculating the distance between the set of coordinates. You're given a set of coordinates here. I'm going to put this on the other side. Okay, oops. You're given a set of coordinates here. Okay, and then you're going to map that on a Cartesian plane somewhere, and then you're going to use that to find your distance. Okay, so remember, using that distance formula that I just showed you, mathematically, you're going to figure out these distances. Alright? So, let's do it real quick. Let's pull up a notepad. Let's see if this will do the trick. Alright, I think it will once I get my other stuff out. Alright, so here we are. So, I have a notepad here. Okay? So, let's do this real quick. Let's first of all find the distance between WX. That's the first one we have here. Okay, so square root of x2 minus x1, negative 5, plus 7, because those are your x coordinates for your points, the quantity squared, plus the quantity 18 minus 16, the quantity squared. Okay, so calculating that, I wind up with 2 squared plus 2 squared, 4 plus 4, which gives you square root of 8. Okay, so let's pull up a calculator. What is the square root of 8? Square root of 8 is 2.82. So let's try it. 2.82. There's 2.82. Alright, here's the thing. As you fill this out, if your answer is wrong, it will show you. Okay? It will show you based on how well you do on this particular thing. Okay? So, it'll show you, the score will show you whether it's right or not as you fill this out. Okay? So, I could assume maybe that, hey, maybe this is also the same. Okay, let's try it. 2.82. There we are. 2.82. Okay? Let's just put it all in and see what happens. There's my score. So that means I have a couple of them that are, I have maybe one of them that's correct, and I think it's the one that I put here. Okay? So, this is going to auto-check you if you have your answer right or if you have your answer wrong. Okay? So, if you have a score of 14%, that means there is quite a few mistakes that you've made. Maybe that it's not, the only thing I got right is the fact that it's a square. Okay? So, that means I did my mathematics wrong here somewhere. Okay? And I have to figure out exactly what I did. Okay? So that is how this assignment works. Alright? You use the distance formula to calculate it. And yes, I did get it wrong, which, I mean, even I make mistakes, but this is the methodology by which you do it. Okay? So, I'm going to stop this there. If you have questions, I will probably be available via email. I have an appointment tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll be there, but I will do my best. Alright? And we'll definitely debrief on Monday when I get back. So, I'll see you guys then.